Hey everyone. Today I want to talk a little bit about more about your sobriety. I had a friend that reached out. She was actually real close to her year of sobriety, and she reached out and said, "Oh no, I've messed up." And I believe that one important thing that you realize when you're getting clean is at any point in time you can relapse. It's very easy to do, and I think it's important that you recognize the things that make you relapse and you stay away from them situations. For instance, so she calls or she texts me today and she's beating herself up about she was so close to a year and now she's back on square one. I feel that it's very important that you understand that relapse can happen. I mean, you can be 20 years clean and it can happen. You have to stay on your toes. It's something that you have to be, fully aware of it happening because I feel, now this is just me talking, it's not been a proven fact. I feel that if you don't expect to relapse, you're setting yourself up for failure. It's Relapsing is very easy to do. You've got to recognize things that trigger you to want to relapse. You have to recognize these things that put you in danger, and therefore you have to get yourself out of them situations. If that means changing the people that you're around, that's one of the first things that I would do is change the people that you're around, because pretty soon, you're clean, you're sober, you're hanging out with the same folks, they're getting high, and next thing you know, you fall right back into it. It's happened to me. I know. I understand it completely, but I had to recognize them situations of them people, or maybe even the places that I go around, or even something as simple as seeing a torch or a needle. If you see a doctor and you were an ex-addict with needles, it's very important that you make your doctor aware of these things, because that needle can trigger you to want to relapse. I know it does not make no sense at times, but what I'm telling you is true. Um, Places you go, them also can be triggers. Another thing that I feel that is important, and I'm very honest with my doctors, I let them know, I'm in sobriety. I was a meth addict. You can cross addiction, which means that, for instance, Um, I'm I was a meth addict. Still am an addict. I'm still in recovery. I'm going to be in recovery for the rest of my life. This is not something that you just, get over. You can relapse at any point in time. But me letting my doctors know that, I have an addiction problem, I can actually cross addiction and become, maybe, my next drug choice would be opiates, or, vice versa. It can go either way. I mean, we're susceptible to be, cross addiction. I feel that it's very important that you realize these things and you get yourself out of them situations. Okay. Another thing, if you relapse, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up over it. It's like I told my friend today, you got to expect to relapse. You're not setting yourself up for failure for expecting that. You're cautious. You're aware of what's going on around you. You're in control of what's going on around you. Um, if you relapse, get up, dust your knees off, get back out there and fight the fight. Don't give up. Don't throw your hands in the air and say, okay, well, I relapsed, may as well just stop. She's like, now I'm back to day one. Hey, one day's better than no day. Don't give up. Keep pushing. You have to keep pushing. Know this: anything worth having is worth fighting for. And anything worth fighting for is worth keeping. And your sobriety is worth it. It's worth the fight. It's worth the struggle. Eventually, after that first step, that first day, that one step will turn into two steps, that two steps will turn into three, and now, honey, you'll be walking. But, like I told her today, it's very important. Think about how come you relapsed. Yeah, because you want to. No, it's not just about because you want to get high. It's not about that. There's other reasons, there's underlying conditions, I promise you. But you have to realize the things that made you relapse. Recognize that and get yourself out of that situation. Do not beat yourself up about it. It's not worth it. If you beat yourself up about it, you're throwing your hands in the air. Sit down. Think about what made you relapse. Think about the situation, the circumstances that you were in, and recognize that. And don't put yourself back in that situation. There's no sense in testing yourself. There's no sense in saying, well, we all know how this goes. We know how this goes. I mean, you start it, oh, I won't be doing this forever. And guess what? That weekend turns into every other weekend, that turns into every weekend, that turns into every week, that turns into every day, and then we have a problem. We've had a problem way back when. Okay, now, like I've told you before, addiction is just not meth. It's just not drugs. It can be sex. It can be porn. It can be absolutely anything. Anything that takes you from your responsibilities is a problem. Okay? We have to recognize these things, and we have to take ourselves out of this situation. Your sobriety is worth fighting for. Being clean is worth fighting for. You know, addiction is a very serious note. And for y'all that don't know what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get into a rehab. I'm trying to get a job. And I've been in touch with this rehab since I was 8 months in sobriety. I have called and called and called and called, letting her know I'm still in sobriety. I'm coming. Because I had to wait until I was in a year of sobriety before I could even put in a job application. So, well, I hit my year. And I kind of have been really discouraged about things because this YouTube channel really hasn't given me that much support. You know, people don't want to talk about sobriety. So I've been really discouraged and thought about just quitting the channel. But it has been like my anchor. You know, I want to get a message out there, and I want, to help others. So I've been waiting on this job, and I thought the best thing to do is get on YouTube, tell my story, and maybe I can reach somebody until I can get into the rehab for a job. Well, I actually have a really funny story to tell you. You know, I'm sitting in there, and I am filling out my application. And the lady, I get an interview today. I was not expecting that. I get an interview, and I finally meet this beautiful person that I have been talking on the phone with since I've been in 8 months, sobriety. And I finally get to lay eyes on her, and we have a conversation. And it was quite funny because, look, on the job application, it has 3 references, and 2 of them have to be former employers. Well, it was funny because I was like, well, you ask for 2 references, and they have, 3 references, and 2 of them have to be employers. I've worked at this one job since 2014. I mean, I don't have another employer that you could contact, but now look here, I could give you my local drug dealer's phone number, and he'll tell you I was there every night. And she kind of chuckled at me, and she's like, you got a sense of humor about it. And I'm like, well, I take my sobriety serious, but, it was just a little funny. I don't look at, addiction as being a joke, but there is some sense of humor in it. I mean, I didn't have no job references. I've had the same job since 2014. I can tell you, my dope dealer can tell you that I was there every night on time. I promise you. But mainly, just know that you should expect that you can relapse. If you don't, I believe you're setting yourself up for failure. And because if you don't believe you can relapse, you'll put yourself in the same situations. I promise you. And then you're going to find yourself in the same hot water. But don't beat yourself up about it. Be strong. Pick yourself up. Dust them knees off and go back out fighting. Fighting harder than what you were fighting when you relapsed. Now, like I said, sobriety's worth the battle. You got to keep pushing, keep fighting. I just wanted to touch base with y'all. And I felt like talking about relapsing is important and recognizing that you can relapse. I just wanted to touch base with y'all and let y'all know that I love y'all. I've got another push forward, and it's easy to get discouraged. Another thing I want to say something to y'all about, that when you step into sobriety, you got to expect you're gonna be discouraged. That is your addiction talking. Your addiction is hoping that you will give up. Your addiction is hoping that you will throw your hands up and say, to hell with it. I done messed up. May as well keep going. No, you shouldn't. Because you know what? Just like I told my friend today, one day of sobriety is worth it. If it's just one, yeah, it sucks. You have to start over. It does suck. But guess what? You're pushing forward. You keep pushing, and them days will turn into more days. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged. That's what your addiction wants. It wants you to feel discouraged. Just keep pushing. Keep pushing. If there's anything I can do for any of y'all out there, please contact me. I've had tons of people calling me. Actually, not calling me, but texting me. Please look me up on Messenger. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here to help anybody that I can. It's really important to me. This is a calling I have. I put so much negative out there. I'm wanting to give it back. I'm wanting to show you if I can do it. I promise you, anybody can do it. I get on YouTube and I have loved ones that are still in addiction, and I have to be careful of what I say because I don't want to hurt nobody. My family's important to me. I don't want to drag nobody down. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. I don't want to upset anybody. I only tell part of my story. There's so much more that I can get into that I don't talk about. But just know that, you have somebody out here who believes in you. Trust me. I know if I can do it, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. Just look me up on Facebook. Find me. Send me a request. I'm here. I'm here to talk at any time. I just want to say I love y'all. Okay? To addicts out there, keep pushing. It's worth it. To the ones who love an addict out there, keep holding on. They need you. I love y'all.